players that we've got, the staff that we've got. I walked in the door and I felt really optimistic that we've got the right people in the room. We just need to, I suppose, change a few things.
I reckon we're really tight this year and compared to a few other years. If we have fun, then we're more likely to win. That's sort of his mantra.
So my name's Kornberg, I'm the VFL senior coach at the Frankston Football Club. I saw a lot of opportunity with this group. I think you can narrowly look at the ladder and results of the previous couple of years and see that there hasn't been much success at the club, but I think the players that we've got, the staff that we've got, I walked in the door and I felt really optimistic that we've got the right people in the room. We just need to, I suppose, change a few things of how we structure up, both as an organisation, as you mentioned, through culturally and how we hold ourselves accountable of those actions too. So there was that element of it, and then topping up with a handful of players that I thought was really important as well. But we had the foundations in the program, and I think it's interesting when you come into a new club as a senior coach. The tendency is to come in and flick everything. I think we made some meaningful change, but I also think we listened to the players of what they liked previously, what the club has done really well the last couple of years, because there's still some, even though there wasn't much on-field success, there was still a lot of things that the club did really well that we wanted to maintain and continue.
Roseby with a scrubby little ball, taking it well for Frankston. Was Stern, good ball, Butland, they're queuing up, should be a certain goal! Mods and goals!
I think as a senior coach, it's really important that you keep listening to the players and you keep listening to the staff as to what they think works and what I suppose what's proven successful over the last couple of years. So that was a big thing for me coming in. I was really optimistic and I saw great opportunity with this group. And then where we're at right now, I think's probably a byproduct of that opportunity and optimism that I saw at the start of the season. As I said, we shifted some things, but I put that completely down to the players and what they've been able to do over the last sort of 7 or 8 months we've spent together. It's easy to look at a senior coach and say there's been a big change, but as I said, with the players, I think they've embraced it, they've bought in, and they're really enjoying their time at the club.
Sharp to half forward, looking in the sun, but taking the mark, Tane Barlow. Wheels and goes, 51, winds up, sets sail for home and nails it!
I think it's all about people. So for me, assembling firstly a playing group with some strong on-field leaders as well, guys who demand high standards and drag players along with them, both positively and in areas that they need to improve on. So having the right people in the right seats on the bus, I think, is the most important thing when it comes to building a team. And then secondly, having the support and care of people off the field with our staff. So making sure our players feel supported, making sure they feel cared for, valued, but then also, and probably more importantly, challenged as well, to continually improve. So I think making sure you have the right people in any team is a major pillar of any successful organisation. It starts with the on-field players. As I said, you've got to have the right people in the right roles, but then also off-field, making sure you've got the right mix of staff who all have different strengths. I think it's important to have a diverse personnel across players and staff, people who have different strengths, have different weaknesses, and what they can do to complement each other. So I think, as I said, it's really important to get the people right, and then from there you're able to then build what you want to achieve.
Middle of the ground they go. Good overlap. Here's Riley. Long kick. Is this downfield? It will be. Play on. Nunes will seal it. It's down the ground. And a little bit of push and shove to it up, or they dust them.
Firstly, like, culture comes first, but I think creating an environment where players can be themselves, have fun. We talk about that we're here to have fun and win in that order. Winning is secondary to fun. I think a lot of coaches and football clubs think you win and then you start having fun after that. I'm of the belief that you've got to create the enjoyment and the fun first, and then winning comes off the back of that. So I think building that around the club, making it an enjoyable place to be, making it a place that the players want to come here. And we want to create an environment where players can't wait to finish work, get in the car and drive to the club and see their mates, see their coaches and really get to work, because I think it can be a pretty grim place if you're not enjoying it, you're not finding that connection with each other and with your teammates and your staff and your football club. So I think it is a really important thing, culture, but I think to really strip it back, what comes first is creating an enjoyable environment where players can feel like they can have fun, they can feel like they're not boxed in to being a certain type of person. They can be themselves, and I think off the back of that, it's really easy to create buy-in to, I suppose, whatever you want to do as a football club. Yeah, I think it's really important to get to know people on a deeper and more personal level. Now, we talk to the players. You can go as deep or as shallow as you like when you're talking about those sort of things. A lot of them are quite personal things that they're talking about, their story and their journey from when they were a kid to where they are now. But it is certainly something I'm really aware of, that we want our players to get to know not just each other but their fellow staff members as well. Get to know them on a deeper level. We see them, I don't know, 3 hours a night, twice a week, so we see them for 6 hours a week. So we have to find ways to accelerate relationships, connections and networks as well. And I think by doing things, as you mentioned, by getting the boys up the front, I think it also firstly helps their leadership skills and their presentation skills as well, and the staff as well. The boys firstly get to understand what other people's motives are, where they've come from, and staff as well, to find out things about them. I mean, we've got physios and trainers at the club who the boys think they just walk in and get their ankles strapped and then they walk out and train and that's it. But finding out a little bit more about them, their families and why they're here and what they want to achieve, I think is a really powerful thing when you're coming down to a part-time environment like we are at the VFL. And as I said, we just got to keep trying to find ways to build connection and accelerate that in such a time-poor environment that we're in. I think that's an ongoing challenge with every VFL club. You've probably got like 3 groups of players at every VFL club. There's guys who want to get to the next level. They want to get to AFL. They want to get into an AFL list and get the best out of themselves. Then you've got a group who might have already been at AFL level and want to continue their career at VFL. And then you've got a group of players who they just want to play VFL because they think that's the highest level they'll play to, and they want to forge a real strong career out of it. And I think understanding everyone's motives firstly is really important, but then secondly, as you mentioned, they're all full-time workers. Like listening, understanding the challenges that they have. Like some of them are working on the tools from 7 till 3 and they come to training. Others work in office jobs. They work in various areas of Melbourne. They're not local. They might be in the city and it takes them an hour in traffic to get here. So understanding and being flexible, I think that's really important. The minute you become too rigid as a VFL program, I think that's the minute you start to lose the players. I think, again, it comes back to that ability for us to create a fun environment where players want to be themselves. If we continually be flexible, continue to listen to them, I think then that pays us off in spades in time. So I think around that, as I said, they all have different challenges, whether it be work, life, family, aspirations, but I think firstly it's listening and understanding what they need individually, how that goal can then help the team, and then what the team can do for them to help them push forward as well.
We have to do one more fucking quarter. Let's go.
Come on, lads.
Go Blakey, go Blakey!
Gotta go, Blakey, gotta go! Lost it! Holding it!
We spoke about it on Thursday. Like, I know it was a bit of a funky theme, but like the video I showed, and like who's actually like everyone's played Mario Kart before? Yeah, that is like the premier track in Mario Kart. Like it's the bee's knees. It's the hardest track to play, but it's the only way you win that track is like through speed and a bit of precision as well, because you fall off the sides. But you got to hit every boost. You got to hit every boost, Milny. All right, but that's us today. We've got to keep running for them, and we've got to keep creating. Our defenders, we know we're going to get into that shape. Right, we know what it looks like. I know you went through it with Damo a second ago. Create that energy and that space through the corridor. Mids, it's super important that on turnover, we explode and create length. We saw that at training a couple of times. Like we bolted out, and then it popped open for a halfback to duck in. Then mids get activated when we get a press off the back of that. Or, as I said, our biggest growth as a football club comes from our offense. Right, we're pretty sound with our defence. We know what we've got to do there, but the shifts we've made this week, particularly how we move the ball, that helps us set up behind the ball. Quite simply, it helps us score more and it helps us set up behind the ball. So trust that, trust each other, and have fun doing it. All right. Let's go. Let's
go. Trent, Mynott. I've been here 3 years now, and obviously this year is my first year as sole captain. Last year I was co-captain with one of the other boys, but he's unfortunately left, so now I've got the role to myself, which is, it's a really, really good and bit of a learning curve, but it's been really, really good. Well, we had a bit of an exodus, and especially of senior players last year, and it was sort of looking a bit grim, not grim, but like at the start of the year it was a bit like we've lost a lot of leadership, but we've brought in a really good core young group who've all bought in, and it's a very young group, so they're all really good mates, and I think sort of that sort of hierarchy of leaders and new players, it's all sort of gelled into one with us being a fairly new club with a lot of new players. Everyone sort of had to just gel, and it's just whoever's come, it doesn't matter if you've played one game or 50 games, we're all in the same playing field. And I think Jacko sort of brought that in as well, being a new coach. He's given everyone a fresh start. It's no matter how long you've been at the club, it doesn't really matter when a new coach comes in. He sort of grades everyone on how he sees it. So I think that at the start of the pre-season really gave everyone that little bit of lift to say, like, it's just a fresh start and everyone's on the same playing field. To be honest, my leadership group that's around me have really sort of taken me under their wing as well. Like the amount of stuff that the rest of the boys do is enormous, so it's not all just on me, and I think that's sort of the way the club's going at the moment, with everyone just does everything for each other. It's not just like you're the captain, you can sort of figure everything out, you can organise everything. It's not like there's Tame Barlow, who's in the leadership group this year, he's really taken on that social sort of aspect, organising all that stuff. It just takes a little bit of pressure off my shoulders to make sure the club's sort of going where how it's going. I can focus on other little things that might need attending to. Jacko being a full-time coach this year, he's probably been able to sort of be more of a role model to a lot of the boys who are looking to push to sort of that next level. There's a few that were put up for the mid-season draft, unfortunately didn't quite get there, but just the ability to sort of, if boys want to come in on a Tuesday 10 o'clock, Jacko's here, he can do, edits, he can do crafts, he can do all these things if the boys want to do it. There's been a lot of change over the last sort of year. Like, it's not just one thing. I could go off a list of about 10 different things we've done, such as dinners after training. Like, it might be, a 2% thing, but that helps. And then Jacko being a full-time coach and doing his presentations every Tuesday, like there's always a funny joke in there or something like that. It's just nothing, but it lifts the team up on a Tuesday if we've just gotten beat, or he can put us back in our place. Like, it's been really good. Then obviously what you were just talking about, and we've been going through our journeys and everyone's been doing their presentations, which I think is really sort of good insight into boys sort of below the surface of a footy player and getting to know them on a personal level. So all those things are sort of and Jacko's brought in a new game plan. You know, all the boys are on there's a lot of things. All the boys are playing for the team at the moment, and we all believe in the game plan. So all those things, I think, are all adding up into what we've been getting in the weekend. So yeah, there's a bunch of things, but if we just keep going with the way we're going, I think we're heading in the right direction. So it should be good.
Oh yeah, awesome. That's you done.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Thanks heaps.
In the pocket, Hurd just bangs it on the boots. Mynott marked, it was touched, and so now the captain can straighten on up, go back and kick his second goal of the Knights. And Frankston do have the first goal of the second half.
Barlow up towards half forwards. Schreiber couldn't mark. Outside of the foot chance. Vacant goal square. Might dribble all the way through. Job done.